Sacred action. Come into a comfortable lying down position with your feet flopped open and your palms face up. Take this time to disengage from the exterior world, leaving behind all your worries, daily concerns, and thoughts and feelings concerning others. Come into yourself. Use your breath to transport your awareness from out there to inside yourself. Feel your familiar inner space and rest there a while in the dark warmth of your sovereign being. Start to see the natural world, the animal kingdom, the flora and fauna, the rivers, mountains, forests, and deserts. Feel the goodness of life and the innocent and delicate ways we depend on one another. Now, see the matrix, the artificial world of control, fear, otherworldly influences, war, and oppression. See how the matrix attempts to overlay the natural world, dimming the beauty of life from our vision, coercing us into a world of impossible goals, unmet expectations, and a complete inability to open, trust, and connect. What does she, the fierce feminine, have to say about that? Should you allow this in, what next step could you take to fully contribute on behalf of her authentic voice? What deep wisdom rests in your bones? What daring new dimension could you operate on? What innovative and fresh new territory could you guide others into? How else could something come through you, and what would it be? Remember, her way is not to oppose the dark agenda, but to bring it into balance with nature. Once you have seen your next new step, you must write it down. Better still, speak it to another, or record your own voice speaking her words. Don't discard it or forget what you have been shown. This glimpse is between you and her, and has already been revealed by your own wisdom. She has prepared and opened your evolution and will bring you every resource needed along the way. And that is the truth. There is a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. Summoning the fecund fierce feminine. Come into a comfortable lying down position with your feet flopped open, your palms face up, and your eyes closed as you gaze into your being. Use this time to come into a more relaxed and open state. Begin to elongate your breath as you sink into and merge with your interior self. Drop into the warm embrace that is familiar, recognizable, and true. It is always there for you, always welcoming and always beckoning. We are now going to journey with the fecund feminine, that earthy, green, wild, unruly, natural force that pushes flowers up through the earth, that causes rosebuds to open, that turns the sunflower to face the light. Imagine yourself now in one of your most familiar, sacred sites, and there's no one else there. You feel safe. You feel held. You are not being overlooked. You are completely and gorgeously alone, and it feels divine to you. Remembering now the words a shaman once uttered to me: nature shall remember her own. If we are one of her own, then we will feel as she feels. In this transmission, let us throw off our human identity and become more like the one who created our body of her own elements. She sustains our body out of her own breath, and shall take our body when it is time for this earthly end. And this taking can be just as ecstatic as the birthing. Keep dropping, breath by breath, merging, longing for, here and now, before earth and sky. We feel the blessing of your infinite love in our bones, in our blood, in our breath, and in our hearts. As you rest in the presence of prayer, imagine that the earth you find yourself lying upon begins to grow small, delicate tendrils that now wriggle and climb up your toes. You can feel this as tiny cords and threads, emerald green in nature, twirling up like ivy against a wall. You can feel this tickling underfoot as the moist, mossy, green tangled wilderness starts to climb up and draws you in. You're sure there's a quality of energy that is knowingly enticing, knowingly climbing in such a way that brings in delight. You can feel it. And of course you wonder, where is that intention coming from? What is that intention coming from? And it is the good heart of nature. The good heart of nature that is free of all interpretation. The good heart of nature that is simply pure goodness. It brings pleasure. It brings delight. It brings laughter. It brings joy, and it squeals and rasps. It is unapologetic, not holding back in any way, continuing to climb despite your flapping. By now, it's carefully carving its way up the back of your calves and shins. Your feet are completely submerged in the earth, and it is warm, and it is not at all uncomfortable. The soles of your feet are picking up on a pulse, a rhythm. You can feel the life force pounding in the moist earth as the ivy continues to climb in such a way that surprises and delights you. It continues to climb past your knees, now along your thighs. You are letting go. There is most definitely a sense of sensuality more than anything you've ever experienced with another fellow human. There is a great skill being applied here, a great know-how. The ivy that is climbing you made you. It knows because you are made of it. It knows how to awaken your flesh. It is warm and excites your blood. Years and years of disappointed love affairs slide from your being because this presence knows. This presence is the creatrix. It is barely bearable, almost half a breath away from being too much. There is no part of your body that is receiving more attention than another. The whole of your body is being inundated with natural, knowledgeable presence as the tendrils climb into your groin, around your behind, between your legs, over your pubic bone, towards your sexual center. There is no confusion here. It is all one and the same. Try to keep the mind clear here and permit the sensations climbing up and over your ass. This energy goes, weaving its way up and over the sexual center toward the sacrum. Pure, wise know-how. The tendrils are only claiming their own, taking back what is being freely given, and they continue to climb over the navel, over the stomach, kidneys, lower back, into the coaxial, into the spinal cord, making their way up through the hollow of the spine, moving up and over each vertebrae, coming to the base of the breasts, and with such delicate green fingers claiming the breasts, delighting around the fullness of the breasts, nipples, and armpits, crawling up the upper back and in between the shoulder blades, getting underneath the shoulder blades and into the gap under the ribs, coming into the voice, claiming the arms, neck, throat, jaw, mouth, teeth, tongue, eyes, third eye, scalp, brain, and the stem of the brain. Taken, taken, taken. Green, fecund feminine is everywhere. You breathe and are as one. See yourself, spread-eagled as it were, as her green chlorophyll pours through your veins and arteries. Your mind belongs to nature. From here, imagine that you come to your feet and you are being called to her by a very barren part of the natural world. You are being drawn to where it's extremely dry, empty, cut down, drought-ridden, infected, and scorched. And you are walking through this as barefoot as she. You are that young, green, fertile, fecund, moist beauty. You are walking through parts of nature that are struggling to survive, and the whole thing is very sensual. And you are totally embracing burned and charred trees. You are holding trunks as if they were your beloved. You are breathing, sounding those earthly sounds as you kiss the struggling trees. Every footstep is laced with an enticing, beckoning to come back to life. As you walk, you continue to delight yourself by rubbing the backs of your fingertips up your skin. The wind plays with you, circles around you, finding those places that bring more of she into you. The wind is keeping you constantly on the edge of ecstatic pleasure, but it is not a pleasure for yourself. It is a pleasure for the struggling piece of earth that you are vivifying, rejuvenating, restoring. You show all of yourself to the natural world. There are no parts of you that are shamed or hidden. You are loving the whole of your body. And because you have been taken by the fecund feminine, there is no human program whispering in your head as to what is appropriate and what is not. Your noble task is to seep into the struggling earth and turn it over so that it can be reborn and awakened. Always, always, always just on the bearable edge of ecstasy, and you may be lost completely. You are just about here, aligning with your noble cause. You sing into the lakes and the pools and the springs. You reach into the dried up springs and unclutter them. Pull from the source of water until they flow again. You are right up to your elbows, sometimes your shoulders, as you rummage around inside of the spring, clearing it completely as your fingertips call for the source of water to come. And it comes. It comes, and it comes, and it comes. When it pours out of the earth with a pulse, you can feel the joy of it, the ecstasy of it. You can even feel the peace of it. As you look behind you, in your wake is beauty. You see new shoots, new buds, new earth, and the beginnings of growth. And this excites you. You dance and swirl, and you turn and you twirl and you arch. You beckon and gather and sew and weave. Nature shall remember her own. And you are remembering.